Alrighty folks, my camera died right in the middle of this. I guess we're at the beginning of it. So, take two. Sorry if there's an awkward, choppy part where I try to snip these together, but yay, technology. OK Famjam, and welcome back to another yoga class. Today's class is really going to be focusing on chest openers. So the sequence that I've put together for today is really going to help open up the chest, reversing all the effects that we have from sitting down at our desks, the table, watching TV, texting. We're in a shrugged and crouched over position for most of the day. So our chest gets very tight, and then the muscles in the back are very loose. And so what we want to do today is really opening it up, trying to counteract all of that hunched over positioning that we do throughout the day, and instead really open up the chest. So for today, you will need a strap. So if you don't have a yoga strap, because not many people do, I would recommend using just like a regular belt. If you have a belt, you can use a towel, or if you have like an elastic workout band or TheraBand, you can also use that as well. And then we're going to finish today's class in Shavasana, but I would like to prop us up with a pillow to really encourage the chest to open up. So, for example, in most yoga classes, they have what's called a bolster. So I will be using my bolster, but if you don't have a bolster, because again, no one really has a bolster, you can use a pillow. Is a great option just to be able to put underneath your back, or you can even roll up a blanket or a towel to put underneath your back lengthwise, right in the center of your back. So just make sure that you have those ready and available for you. If you don't, just hit pause, go grab them, come back, and we'll all get started in Shavasana. So begin in Shavasana with the legs out long, arms down by your sides, palms facing open. And just like in every class, we'll begin with a head to toe scan of the body to see where we're at today. And because today is very specific on opening up the chest, I really want you to focus in on your chest right now and where it's at right now. Are you maybe feeling really tight from past workouts? Do you feel as though your shoulders are drawing inwards, and so you're having to work extra hard to pull them back? So just take a few moments here, breathing in naturally, not trying to change the breath at all right now. And then we'll begin to deepen the breath. So you always have the option to place one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. Or you can put both hands on your belly here, or just leave them down by your sides. I do like to have the tactile feel to really encourage deep breaths here. And we'll come into our belly breathing, and the breathing that we want to be coming back to throughout the remainder of class. So begin to take a deep inhale, drawing the air down into your tummy first, feeling your belly fill up with the air and expand, and then the air drawing into your ribs, really separating those intercostal muscles between each rib, and then lastly up into your chest. And then as you exhale, everything drawing back into the midline. And just taking a few rounds here. And try to make your exhales just a little bit longer than your inhales, slow and controlled out. Take one final inhale and exhale. And then return to your normal breathing. Your hands can come down by your sides again. And then begin to scrunch and wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe you rotate your wrists and ankles from one direction to the other. and nod your head side to side as we begin to wake up the body and prepare for movement. Draw your knees into your chest. Your hands can wrap around your knees or the tops of your shins and rock side to side, massaging out the low back. And then begin to rock up and down lengthwise, slow and controlled, gradually making the rocks a little bit bigger, and then we'll rock and roll all the way up into a tabletop position. So we'll all meet in tabletop. Fingers are spread nice and wide. Shoulders stack over top of wrists and hips over top of ankles. And we'll do a few rounds of cat-cow. Again, warming up the spine here. On an inhale, begin to dip the belly down towards the mat. Opening up through the chest, your head comes up last. Inhale, tilt the tailbone under, slowly pushing up, rounding through the low back to mid back to upper back, and let the head come down last. Inhale back through cow pose. The tailbone slowly rises back up to the ceiling. Belly reaches for the mat, the chest opens. Head up last. And then exhale as you tip the tailbone back under. Really rounding up through the spine, pushing the chest away from the mat, and the head comes down last. Come through this one more time. Again, just following your own breathing. Slow and controlled, slower than you probably want to go. Making as precise a movement as you can, noticing any sticky areas in your back. Or maybe your mobility just isn't as good. We'll all return to tabletop with a neutral spine. And then begin to shift the weight into your right hand. Your left hand begin to float up towards the ceiling as you open up your chest to the side wall. If you're having a hard time opening up your hand all the way, you can just place your hand on your shoulder and try to draw up with your elbow rather than your hand. Return back down to the mat. Shift the weight into your left hand as your right hand floats up towards the ceiling. Exhale back down. Inhale, the left hand comes up. Exhale it back down. Inhale, the right hand comes up. Exhale, return back down. Reach for your strap here, or whatever you're using as a strap. And we'll begin with some shoulder flossing. Really opening up the chest here, getting the shoulders warmed up and ready for the rest of class. So again, with shoulder flossing, you probably want to take a little bit past your shoulder width with the strap. Again, the tighter your shoulders are, the greater or the wider a grip that you'll need to take with the strap, and then you can play around with the positioning. We just want to make sure that it's not so wide that we're pushing the chest forward or scrunching under or bending the elbows as we come through our shoulder flossing. So on an inhale, begin to lift the strap up overhead, and then on an exhale, draw it down behind you. Again, slow and controlled to begin with. Inhale as it comes up and over. Exhaling as you lower it down. So just following the pace of your own breath here. We'll do this a few times. And then if you notice any like extra sticky spots, like right here's a bit sticky for me, you can hang out there a little bit, rock side to side, up and down, or just stay still, kind of whatever feels best for your body, and then continue on. And then noticing if maybe as the body warms up and we speed up just a little bit, if maybe you can shorten your grip at all. All right, you can release your grip and place the strap wherever, that we are not going to be using it for the rest of the class. And then we'll all make our way up to the top of our mat in our Tadasana or mountain pose. So begin with your toes together, heels slightly apart, or you can take a hips width apart position with your feet. Arms down by your sides, palms facing open, chest is open here. And then begin to place your hands as if you're placing them in your back pocket of your jeans. And so we're really opening up the chest here as we try and draw our shoulders and our elbows in together. And then if you would like to open up the chest a little bit more, just come into a slight back bend. So it's mostly coming from the upper half. We're not dipping really low and scrunching the low back here, but it's coming from the chest, just into a gentle back bend. Take a deep inhale, and then exhale, slight bend in the knees, hinge from the hips, let the hands and head forward fold. On an inhale, push up to flat back, really keeping that chest open here. Again, we're focusing on opening the chest, keeping the spine and neck nice and long. And then exhale back to your forward fold. Plant your palms and step your feet back into your high plank position. Really pushing through the mat, protracting, separating your shoulder blades here. You have the option to come down onto your knees or push forward into your hands. Squeeze your elbows into your sides as you lower down through your push-up, chest first and then hips. Inhale, peel the chest away into baby cobra. But again, try not to put any weight into your hand. Really just coming from the back, strengthening those pulling muscles. Opening up the chest, exhale all the way down. This time, inhale, push into your hands into full cobra. So again, playing with the distance that you're able to extend your arms and shine that chest forward, really open it. Exhale all the way down. Push up to your tabletop, tuck your toes, and send your hips up and back into our first downward facing dog. On an inhale, look between your hands and step or walk your feet to the front of your mat into a forward fold. Push up to a flat back, open up that chest. Exhale to forward fold. And on strong legs, sweep your arms up overhead, palms touch, gaze follows. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale to flat back. Exhale, forward folds. Plant your palms, step your feet back to high plank, high push-up. Option to come down to your knees or shift the weight in your hands and slowly lower down through your push-up. Inhale through cobra or upward facing dog. Again, keep that chest open. Tuck your toes and send your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. And then inhale your right foot up behind you and step it between your hands. Your back foot, so your left foot, keep the heel lifted. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead into crescent. Instead of keeping your arms up overhead, begin to draw them down into a cactus pose, opening up your chest, retracting your shoulders, so drawing your shoulders in together as you open up your chest. Come back up all the way, reaching towards the ceiling. And then exhale, drawing your shoulder blades together, really opening up the chest. Fingertips are active here. Draw your fingertips back up to the ceiling. Exhale through cactus. Open up the chest. Draw your fingertips back up to the ceiling. Exhale through cactus one more time. Really open up the chest here. Inhale, fingertips back to the ceiling. And then plant your hands by your foot. Step right foot back to meet left. And lower through your push-up. Inhale to your back bend of choice. Cobra or upward facing dog. Tuck your toes, send your hips up and back into downward facing dog. On an inhale, float your left foot up behind you and then step it between your hands. Your back foot to your right foot, the heel stays lifted. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, crescent lunge. Your right leg, so your back leg, is extended long, really yawning that knee open, not bending it. Exhale, draw your shoulder blades together as you lower your arms through cactus. Open up the chest here. And then fingertips come back up, pointing to the ceiling, reaching high. Exhale, drawing shoulder blades together. Reach up for the sky again, coming back into crescent. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, back up. Extend the arms out long. Last time. Retract your scapula. Draw the shoulder blades together. Inhale, fingertips back up towards the ceiling. Plant your palms on either side of your foot. Left foot steps back to meet right. And lower down through your push-up. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Hold for a few breaths here. Returning to that belly breathing from the beginning of class. On an inhale, look between your hands. Come up onto your toes and bend your knees and step or walk to the front of your mat into a forward fold. Inhale to flat back. Keep that chest open. Exhale to forward fold. And on strong legs, sweep your arms up overhead, palms touch, gaze follows. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Step your feet back to high plank, high push-up. And shift the weight into your hands, lowering down to push-up. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, push your hips up and back to downward facing dog. On an inhale, sweep your right foot up behind you Step up between your hands and come up through to your warrior two. Again, we're looking for heel to arch alignment. Chest are open to the side room. Your fingers are active as if you're trying to touch the front and the back of the room. And your gaze is over your middle finger. Stack your shoulders over top of your hips, so not leaning or stacked here. On an exhale, lower your right arm, so your front arm down into your knee. Sweep your arm down and around to come into side angle pose. You have the option to stay here or try to reach your right fingertips to the mat. Maybe lower your hand all the way down to the mat. And if available to you, you can try to come in to a bind. Again, this whole time, keep your chest open to the side wall. So choose the variation that allows your chest to stay open and you're not caving in. If you're in a bind, come out of the bind and we'll all come all the way back up to warrior two. Straighten your front leg, kick your hips, so your left hip's out to the back wall. Leaning forward over your front foot as if you're trying to reach for the front of the wall. When you can't reach any further, lower your hand down to the mat to come into triangle. Shoulders are stacked here. Your gaze can be up to the ceiling, directly out in front of you, or down at the floor. Again, really trying to open up the chest here. If it's easier for you to open up the chest by placing your fingertips on your shoulders so you're leading with your elbow rather than your hands, then try playing around with that. Begin to put a small bend into your right leg. Inhale, back up. Straighten your front leg, square your feet off to the side wall. And then clasp your hands behind your back, opening up your chest here. So clasping behind your back, but open up the chest. So not doing this. Open up, and then begin to hinge from the hips into a wide-legged forward fold. And try to lift your hands off your back as far as you can to get a nice stretch into the shoulders and the chest. I'm going to try to reach the head down to the floor. Slowly lower your hands back down to your back. Place your hands on your hips and hinge up to stand. Your back leg now turn to the back wall. Again, coming into heel to arch alignment. Lunge in to that leg into warrior two on the left side. Come back to that belly breathing. Legs are strong here. Equal weight in both feet. Lower your left arm onto left knee. Your right arm comes down and around into side angle. Again, you have the option to stay here. Your fingertips can reach for the floor. Maybe palm on the floor. Or if accessible to you, you can come into your side angle bind. Again, only if you can keep the chest open. Especially in more challenging poses like this, it's very important to come back to that belly breathing, calm the breath. If you are in a bind, release the bind, and then we'll all come back up into our warrior two. Straighten your front leg, so your left leg. Kick your hips back to the side wall. leaning forward over your left leg. When you can't reach any further, lower your hand down to the floor into triangle pose. Really opening up that chest. Begin to bend into your left knee. Come back up through your warrior two. Straighten your front leg, hands on hips. Square your feet off to the side wall. And begin to hinge forward. Lead with the chest. Hands can come down on the mat. You can place your hands wherever you'd like. You can just have them right underneath you. Maybe walking in behind as you try to draw your head to the floor. You reach for opposite ankles or big toes. Again, just finding what feels best for you. On an inhale, come up to flat back. Place your hands on your hips. Come to stand. Turn your right toes off to the front of the room and come up to stand at the top of your mat. We'll go through one last sun salutation A. Sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips to forward fold. Inhale to flat back. Keep that chest open, spine long. Exhale, forward folds. Plant your palms, step your feet back to high plank, high push-up. Option to lower down to your knees. Or shift the weight forward into your hands. Lower down through your push-up. Inhale to the back bend of your choice. Upward facing dog or cobra. Tuck your toes, send your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Take 3 big belly breaths here. And then come up onto your toes. Bend your knees, look between your hands, and step or walk to the front of your mat into forward folds. Inhale up to flat back. Exhale to forward folds. And on strong legs, sweep your arms up overhead to come to stand, palms touch. Exhale, palms down to your sternum. We'll all come down to a kneeling pose. And we'll come into what's called camel. So I'll show you a few different variations, as this can be a bit of an extreme chest opener or difficult on your knees. You can place a pillow under your knees if you'd like, or roll up your mat if that makes it a little bit more comfortable for you. But bring your knees about hips width apart, so it doesn't need to be just too wide. And then your feet can be flat on the mat, or you can tuck your toes, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And then similar to the gentle back bend that we did at the beginning of class, place your hands on your low back or the top of your bum as if you're sticking your hands into your back pockets. Again, we're trying to draw our scapula, so our shoulder blades, and our elbows in together to really open up the chest here. And then begin to back bend up from the chest. So we're not really coming from the low back, it's more coming from the chest. We're trying to segment here. Of course, you'll get a bit of a bend from the low back. So you can stay here if it feels like a nice back bend for you, or you can slowly lower your hands down. So I like to tuck my toes here. I'm kind of cheating because I'm bringing my feet up closer to me. And then reach back for them. But when you do camel, you want to try to keep your hips stacked over top of your knees so that you're not coming like this. But this would be camel. And then you can let your head relax. Inhale, slowly come out of camel. And then we'll lower down through a wide-legged child's pose as a nice counter to a back bend. If you'd like to make it a little more active and like really push your hips into your heels, you can grip the front or the side of your mat to really drive your hips down into your feet. I find this to be especially nice after doing a back bend like that because it stretches my low back a little bit more. Come up through tabletop, and then we'll all lower down onto our belly. So your arms will come down by your sides, thumbs pointing down, fingers up. We'll come through locust, which we have done before. So in locust, you're going to lift your arms up, trying to draw your hands in towards your midline, and your legs will lift as well. And we'll hold for a few breaths. So inhale to lift, trying to draw everything into the midline, but try to peel your chest away from the mat. Opening the chest up as you try to drive your hands together as if you're trying to high five yourself. Lifting your legs up. Everything is tight and engaged, but your face is still nice and relaxed. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down to relax. Your hands can come by your sides. We'll give a few breaths here. We'll do that one more time. You can do locust again, or you can come up into bow. So in bow pose, again, we have done this position before, but you'll draw your heels in towards your bum. Your hands will wrap around your ankles, and then you're lifting yourself up, so hands and feet are trying to almost oppose each other. So your feet are pulling back, your hands are kind of pulling forward to lift the body up. So come into either variation. On an inhale, prep your body, and then we'll all come up together. Again, trying to lift the chest up as high as possible, really opening up through the chest here. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Arms can come out in front to rest your head. Take a few recovery breaths here. And then we'll all make our way down to our back. So your feet will be flat on the mat. And draw your feet in so that you can almost brush the back of your heels with your fingertips. Your feet will be hips width apart. We'll come into bridge pose. So in bridge pose, we're drawing our shoulder blades underneath and together, again, to open up the chest. So you can start with your hands by your sides. You can grip the mat if you would like, and then drive your weight into your heels as you lift your bum away from the mat. So inhale to lift, and then tuck your shoulders under. Really try to lift up and draw your chest into your chin. And then you have the option to clasp your hands behind your back here to get an even deeper chest stretch. So what's nice about this pose is it's opening up the chest while strengthening your glutes, your quads and your hamstrings. So it's a little bit of both happening here. We'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Unclasp your hands and slowly lower down. Really being meaningful with how you lower down, not rushing through it. Draw your knees up to your chest. Give a nice little rock here. Massage out the low back. We always want to do a counter pose when we're doing anything like a back bend or chest opener. Oftentimes the two come hand in hand. So we want to counteract it with a counter pose, which would be like a forward fold. And this is essentially just a horizontal forward fold. So we'll come into bridge pose again. You can either do bridge pose or you can do wheel. Again, we haven't done wheel before. So in wheel, we're lifting all the way up. So just the bottom of our feet and our hands are on the mat. And to do the wheel pose, your fingertips will point towards your shoulders. And your feet will be hip-width apart. Make sure that your legs don't spread or splay apart. And you'll just kind of begin the same way, pushing through your feet to lift your hips, and then your hands will push into the ground to lift up your back and your chest away from the ground. So on an inhale, begin to shift the weight into your feet, pushing up. And then in wheel, we're trying to straighten our legs to push through the chest, opening up the chest. And we'll hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly and carefully lower down. Draw your knees up into your chest. Give a nice little rock. Side to side. Keep your right knee into your chest. Extend your left leg out long. Foot is flexed into a wind relieving pose. So we're getting a nice stretch through the left hip flexor and the right hamstring here. Trying to draw that knee close into your chest. If you have any low back sensitivity, you can bend your left knee to take any potential strain out of the back. Or if you're getting any pinching through the right hip flexor, just either back out of the stretch a little bit or try drawing your knee in towards your armpit instead. With your left hand on your right knee, begin to draw your knee across and over to the left side to come into a twist. Your right arm can be extended out long into a T shape or into a cactus. Returning to that belly breathing, especially in a twist, really helps getting the breath into your obliques, your intercostal muscles. You can just get a deeper stretch when you use that big belly breathing. On an inhale, come back to center and switch legs. So right foot extends out long, foot is flexed. Left knee into your chest. And again, choosing the variation that's best for you, whether it be bending the right leg or drawing the left knee out to your armpit. With your right hand, draw your left knee over to the right side into a twist. Arm can come out into T or cactus. And really being intentional with that belly breathing again. On an inhale, draw your knee back to center. And we're going to come into Shavasana now. So this is where I would recommend grabbing a pillow. So this is the pillow I have, but you can use any regular pillow, your pillow on your bed, pillows on your couch, or you can roll up a towel or a blanket and just place it on your mid-back. And we basically just want to use it to open up our chest. So it lifts up our chest so that you can open your palms up. I like to do T position. That's where I get the best stretch here rather than down by my sides. But depending on how tight you are in your chest, just play around with the positioning of your arms. And then just coming back to the breath. Noticing how your chest feels, noticing how your whole body feels right now. That's where it's nice to do the quick scan at the beginning of class and then compare it to where you feel now. Hopefully your chest feels a little bit more open and stretched. Hopefully now during the day when you're at your desk or watching TV or texting, you'll be a little bit more aware of your posture and be able to correct it a little bit more. Trying to prevent that rounding, that caving in at the chest. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you have a great rest of your day.